Alright, so here we are back in the garage again, and we're going to look at some things underneath the hood of an engine and some things that we can check for regular maintenance and just learn what some different parts are. Okay, so here's the first thing that we can check on here. This is called our coolant. Okay, so this tank right here holds all of our antifreeze. That's our coolant. And one thing you'll notice on the cap, and they should all say this, is that you're never supposed to open these when the engine's hot. Okay, and the reason for that is it has steam and pressure in there, and it can spray out hot steam, and so we don't want to get hit with that. So what that antifreeze does is flows down through some tubes, goes into your radiator, around the engine, pulls the heat off the engine, goes to the radiator, and then air passes through the radiator and it cools it off. So it's just like if you have a hot bowl of soup and you're stirring it and just blowing on it to cool it off, that's the same thing. We're spreading out the heat, blowing cold air across it. So that is your coolant tank. Okay, here's a couple more things we could check. This is the oil right here. And if I pull this up here, hopefully you can see it. See how it has those checkered X's there? That's the range that the oil should be in. So you can see Mrs. Wright's vehicle has oil in it. It goes to right there. That's the oil line. Okay, so that's the way we can check it. That's called a dipstick. So you should check your oil fairly regularly. If your oil runs out, your engine will be broken forever. This one right here is our transmission fluid. Okay, and if you it'll be really tough for you to see this, but right on the dipstick, it says that the engine should be running, the vehicle in park, and it should be on level ground, and the transmission should be hot. And then you can check the level of it. So it has a lot of criteria, but it's the same idea. You can use a dipstick to make sure that there's fluids in there. So that's your transmission fluid. That's what helps shift gears. Here's another common fluid that we check. Okay, this is called the brake fluid. This is what helps your brake work. We can tell that because it says .3. Most of them will say .3. That's the brake fluid you'd put in there. So if you go to the store, you get some brake fluid, you could fill that back up. Now all these, this one and the coolant, they have markings on them somewhere that say the level. So I think this one's around the back, so you can tell how high it is and you know if it's full of fluid or not. One of the questions that we had was how an air conditioner works, and so we'll be talking about that later in the week. We'll take one day just to learn how an air conditioner works. But these pipes right here and these little connectors, that's for your air conditioner. That's where your Freon travels. So if your car is ever low on Freon or it's not making cold air when the air conditioner's turned on, you or a mechanic would add Freon right there. So if you remember from yesterday, we talked about an engine that needs fuel and air. And so here's our air filter. Right inside this box is our air filter. So it pulls air from the side between the fender there. Pulls air through the filter. And this is one of those sensors. So if this is sensing that it's not getting enough air, you'll get a check engine light. And that's good to know because you want to know if you have enough air. Then it flows in through here and then down into the engine and mixes with the fuel. So there's obviously a lot more to know about vehicles, but that's just kind of a rundown of the engine, what it looks like. And the fluids on your vehicle, you should be able to check yourself. You should be able to check the coolant without even opening the lid. You should be able to just look at the case of it, or the reservoir tank. You can check the oil with the dipstick. Okay, that's an important one to check. Transmission oil you can check with the dipstick. And the brake fluid you can check just right in the tank. Okay. And so it's probably important to make sure that your vehicle has those fluids to keep everything running properly. For your assignment today, why don't you just send me just put I watched it. That'll be good. Just make sure you watch it and hopefully you learned something new today. Okay, take care. We'll see you.
I say it's a good time.